What's going on, everyone? Real Red Politics here. Welcome back to another video on my channel. Before we get into today's video, if you guys could consider leaving a like and subscribing, that would mean a lot. I'm trying to reach 300 subscribers by the end of this month, January of 2023, so I'd really appreciate it if those of you that are watching my videos, if you are not yet subscribed, I ask that you do consider subscribing, as it continues to boost the subscriber count and to help me reach my goal of 300 subscribers. It would mean a lot. So today we're going to be talking about what happened earlier in the week. As I'm sure most of you are familiar with, that Biden was caught with classified documents, and we're going to kind of talk about the differences between him and how how Trump did it with whatnot. And so, but before we get into that section of today's video, I just want to give an update, as I'm sure all of you have seen the post that I made on YouTube. But Kevin McCarthy was confirmed as Speaker of the House. So he cut a deal with the Freedom Caucus, in the sense that if he if he screws up, or he doesn't, if he does any like rhino policies or whatever they deem to be not America First policies, pretty much it just takes one member of Congress to initiate a vote of removal from the position. So this basically just keeps him in check to make sure he's doing the right things for the country, and is not trying to do any rhino maneuvers, so to speak. So it kind of keeps him in check, which is a good thing. And so kind of with that in mind, you guys can go take a look at that for yourself. But the first bill that was proposed was, I think, the removal of funding for the 87,000 IRS agents, which did pass. I believe it was 221 yays. I think there's one Republican that didn't vote for it, but I could be wrong. But it was either 220 yays or 221 yays. So that's that's kind of that. The bill did pass, and that was a pretty big victory. But that was kind of something we were all expecting, as he did announce that he was going to propose that bill, or that he was going to confirm that bill. So it's good that that bill passed in the House. So, that's a victory for Republicans. That's a really big victory, I think, for the country. I think that's a great victory for, people of all financial classes, low class, middle class, even upper class. It's good for everybody. So I think it's good that, the removal of the funding was repealed back, so that way, you don't have, government overreaching their power, as they have been doing, as we'll kind of get into later in this video. So now I want to kind of discuss what was going on this week. So I'm gonna use Newsmax, just because I prefer Newsmax over some other sources. I usually will use Newsmax over even I will use it over Fox News, New York Times, all that kind of stuff. And now the only time I use New York Times is when we're looking at vote tallies and that kind of stuff. So basically, we're going to talk about what's going on this week. I'm going to kind of give my thoughts on it, and kind of what I think will happen, what I think should happen, but probably won't happen. And so we're going to take a look here. It says the first article we're going to be looking from Newsmax today. It says, forgive me if I pronounce this guy's last name wrong, Fred Fleets, to Newsmax. Biden's document stash wasn't an accident. And though I do agree with this, and excuse me, it says down here that if we kind of look, the third paragraph down, it says Biden on Tuesday said he was surprised when government documents were found by his attorneys at the Penn Biden Center, where Biden kept in office after leaving the vice presidency in 2017 until just before launching his presidential campaign in 2019. So there's a lot to unpack from just that paragraph. One, he said he was surprised, which I'm going to call out as malarkey, because I'm pretty sure you, as the Vice President of the United States, know that you have the documents at a location that you constantly visited. I highly doubt that he did not know. I'm pretty confident he did, because he went to that area. Excuse me. He went to that, wow. He went to that area pretty often. And so, or at least from what I understand, he went to that area, on I wouldn't say regular basis, but he went there, he more than enough times to know that he had documents in that area. Whether or not he put them there or his attorneys put them there, I'm sure he was well aware. But, you know, this is just I didn't know they were there. Yeah, like, you know, that's just, I don't think anyone believes that. And another thing, sorry, I'm like clearing my throat a lot because I'm getting over a cold right now, so that's why my voice is a little choppy. But what I just, if you kind of look at what the liberal media is doing, they're going, oh, but this is different from Trump. Not really in terms of, well, first of all, Biden wasn't even president. He was vice president. I haven't looked up the Presidential Records Act of whether or not that's legal. But, you know, actually, you know, I'm going to cut the video here, and then we're going to go check out the Presidential Records Act just to make sure I get this right. Okay, so I have pulled up the Presidential Records Act of 1978. I don't know if this is the exact wording the actual record uses, but I'm going to read it here. This is from archives.gov. This kind of gives the what is the Presidential Records Act, and it says, quote, the Presidential Records Act, PRA, of 1978, 44 U.S.C. 2201-2209 governs the official records of presidents and vice presidents that were created or received after January 20th, 1981, i.e. beginning with the Reagan administration. The PRA changed the legal ownership of the official records of the president from private to public and established a new statutory structure under which presidents and subsequently NRA must manage the records of their administrations. The PRA was amended in 2014, which established several new provisions, end quote. So, pretty much, what I'm getting from this is only the President of the United States is allowed to change the records from private to public in terms of declassifying information or having classified information away from government, or like away from the White House or the, you know, wherever the documents are supposed to be. And if you look down here in the second bullet point, it says requires that vice presidential records be treated in the same way as presidential records. So this begs the question, did Vice President Biden have vice presidential records? I don't know. I think they were presidential records. But essentially, what I'm gathering from this is only the president is allowed to have those kinds of records. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't see anywhere in here that I can read. I'm going to look over it real quick. That says the vice president is allowed to have any sort of these records in any capacity away from the treasury or, like I said, wherever these documents are supposed to be. I'm not 100% sure. I was more concerned about the actual like Presidential Records Act, so I know I could get it right for you guys. I didn't want to say something that was wrong. If I am wrong about the vice president being allowed to have presidential documents, please correct me, and I will like pin the comment so everyone knows. But from what I understand after reading this rather quickly, the vice president is not allowed to have documents that the president is otherwise allowed to have. Another thing to point out here, President Biden did not declassify these documents. These were classified documents. Now, like I said, I don't think the vice president is allowed to have these documents. I think that's only for the actual president or former president of the United States to have access to these documents. And we're going to get to what happened, I think, like yesterday or 2 days ago. What do you know? A second batch was found. Surprise, surprise. Well, Joe Biden says he's surprised, but I don't think anyone here thinks he's actually surprised. And it says here in this Newsmax article titled, Biden aides find second batch of classified docs at new location. So not only is there a second batch, it was in a different location. That begs the question, what other location could there possibly be documents in? And so it says here, the first paragraph on this Newsmax article, quote, aides to President Joe Biden have discovered at least one additional batch of classified documents in a location separate from the Washington, D.C. office used after serving as vice president, NBC News reported Wednesday, citing an unnamed source. So, not only was this office different, according to this article, it says these documents were used after serving as vice president, which means he was no longer in office in any capacity. This was after he was vice president. At least I think I'm reading that correctly. I just want to make sure he used the documents and location separate from the Washington D.C. office he used after serving as vice president. So if we read that correctly, that says after he left office as Obama's vice president, he had documents in this second location. So not only does Biden have classified documents while he was in office, in a location he visited while he was in office, he had documents that were in a second location while he was out of office. Not, again, he's not, keep in mind, he's not president of the United States then. But they're being found now. So, if I had to guess, well, okay, first of all, they're trying to indict Trump over something that I'm pretty sure he was legally within the right to do. Pretty sure there were no crimes committed with Trump. I want to say there probably were here with Biden. I'm not 100% sure. But like I said, after we took a look at the Presidential Records Act, I don't see anything that says the vice president can have these documents, whereas president technically can. And the thing is, Trump's documents, from what I understand, were declassified. And I know there are some sources that say, oh, you can, he said he could declassify the thought of them. I mean, I don't think that's technically wrong. I'm like 60% sure you can. But my point is if they're, okay, so both acts, let's say for the sake of the argument that Trump's act was illegal. Well, that means Joe Biden's is more illegal. But do I think anything's going to happen to Biden? I think he may be impeached in the House for it. But I think it's very, unlikely that we see really anything happened because of it. Now, if I'm wrong about anything, please let me know in the comment section below, because I want to get this right. I don't want to spew a bunch of false information. I'm like trying to do my research and stuff to make sure I can get the information right for you guys, and try and keep you guys updated on kind of what's going on in the world of the United States politics. And what's interesting is, from the articles that I've read, it's his legal team or his attorneys or whoever found the documents. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he put them there. I mean that, or he ordered someone to put them there. I don't think, I'm not going to assume until something happens because of it. But I highly doubt that if he didn't put them there. Let's say he didn't. I'm like 95% sure he was probably aware. Because if you have classified documents in wherever you're like located, whether that's in an office in the White House or wherever, and you have classified documents, I'm pretty sure you would know. But let's say he had no clue. Well, then, in my opinion, that's kind of like irresponsible, because if you don't know that you have classified documents in an area that's, whether you're vice president, president or not, or even after, you're not in office anymore, if you don't know you have those documents, that's probably, and then they're found, that kind of shows that you might be irresponsible. And like I said, they're trying to indict Trump over something that was, definitely lesser than what Joe Biden did. I don't think they're going to be successful indicting Trump. Trump did nothing wrong. And I may be a little biased in terms of, I think Trump was a great president. I think he is a great president. I think he will be a great president again. If he wins his primary, which I continue to predict he will. But they're not going to indict Trump over it, because one, I think that would, throw the country in shambles. I think it would, there would be a very negative response from the public. But two, you can't indict someone over a crime that they didn't do. That's what they're trying to do with Trump. That's what they tried to do with his tax returns. If you saw those came out, guess what? He did nothing wrong. And all the media was like, well, we're still waiting, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no. When his taxes were released to the public, he did nothing wrong. They went after him. Was it 6-7 years now, trying to get his tax returns? And guess what? An investigation or whatever, funded by taxpayer dollars, something we already all knew. He did nothing wrong. The entire public knew it. They were just using it as a political hoax. Just like the whole Russia. Funded by taxpayer dollars. Guess what? No crime was committed. So I say to the Democrats in all of this, left news, right news, whatever, stop being biased and present the law as it's meant to be presented and leave Trump alone. I'll say that again. To the Democrats, news media, left or right. Do your job right. Stop being impartial. Or, I'm sorry, stop being, like, super biased just because you don't like someone. And leave Trump alone. Leave Republicans alone. Leave just report news for once. Be a good news anchor. Be a good news organization. Talking to you, New York Times, CBS, NBC, NPR. I'll say this to the right, Fox News. Sure. That can be biased. Come on. What happened to, decent news reporting? What happened to just stating the facts instead of, having your opinion and being clearly biased to the point where it makes you seem very unbelievable, which the majority of the time tends to happen at CNN. Honestly. And it's like, stop. I'm like, you're going after Trump for all of these things. Taxes. The documents. Why? Because you don't like him. If it was a Democrat doing this now, while in office, or actually out of office technically, because he did it when he was vice president, and you're not giving the same treatment that you gave Trump, that just shows you're biased, shows you're untrustworthy, and shows that no one wants to watch you. Like, CNN has 10 viewers. No one's going to want to watch you. And there's a reason for that. Because us American citizens, us Americans, we want fair news reporting. We just want to see the facts. What's going on? We don't want bias. We don't want any of this stuff. We want to see we want to see news stories as they're presented in a fair manner to everyone. So, like I said to the Democrats one more time, just leave Trump alone. Just give up, because he did nothing wrong. He's committed no crime, and just admit he was a very good president, because he's the best president of my lifetime. I lived through Bush, George W. Bush. Well, at least a little bit of George W. Bush. George W. Bush, Obama, Trump, and now Biden. And it's like, out of all those presidents, Trump has been the best. Why can't you just accept that the American public likes Trump and that he was good, he was a great president, great on the border, great on everything? Honestly, I said this in post. Leave Trump alone. If you're gonna go after Trump for documents, go after Biden for documents. If you're gonna try and indict Trump, indict Biden, because he's doing the same thing. It was just as worse. It's come on. Anyways, that's just kind of my spiel. But that's kind of what I have on this subject. Maybe someday we'll get better news media. They'll actually tell the facts as it is. Who knows? Anyways, guys, so thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did, leave a like. Be sure to comment, subscribe below. Leave a like, everything. Help me reach that goal of 300 subscribers. And I would like to start a podcast at some point. And I'm curious if I'm going to put a poll out if you guys would be interested in a podcast, because I think that would be really, enjoyable to do. I'd get to cover so many more, topics in one sitting versus having to split the videos up. Because I don't want to do 30, 40, 50-minute videos, because I don't know that any of you guys are going to watch that long. I try and keep it between 10 and 20 minutes. But I'm going to put a poll out, see if you guys would like that. And I think I'm getting to, the recognition and popularity that people would actually watch that, watch the podcasts. We're at about 250 subscribers, or 249, whatever it is. So we're literally 50 or 51 away from 300. And I think we could do it by the end of this month. So thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more political content coming your guys' way.